All right, what is new with the journal? With the help of Professor Andrew Clark, Rebecca was able to gain access to Luxborn Library's restricted section. And there, she discovered numerous accounts about the Ermengardes, all hidden from the public for some weird reason. Her research was interrupted, however, when the spirit appeared. Rebecca was seen limping out of the Luxborn Public Library late Sunday morning, checking her mobile. A lone voicemail from Ashton was in it, telling her they need to talk ASAP. Is that it? Yes. Profiles. We get to see Ashton now. Did we do Luke? No, undiscovered. Ashton, Ash Frey. Birth date, December 20th? Capricorn, whatever that means, 29 years old. Height 5'5", occupation, detective inspector, nationality, American Japanese. Religion, Christian, non-practicing. Then why is it his religion? Education, bachelor's degree in forensic science. Likes taiyaki ice cream. Shirley, whatever that is. Shirley, what is Shirley? Why is it familiar? Shirley. Is that the name of his car? Or the name of his gun? Ophelia. I'm gonna say Shirley's the name of his car, Ophelia's the name of his gun. Old-timey action movies and thrillers, kart racing, jazz and swing, Sherlock Holmes, and justice. Oh. There was little love between his parents, and though he grew up privileged, he found little joy in student life. He saw the standard testing system as a chore and considers his popularity among his peers to be an annoyance. Rebecca was the only one he considered a friend in St. Goretti, and he was no better when he went into university. If anything, his indifferent outlook got worse with his parents' divorce. He initially took law, but was quickly disillusioned by how heavy-handed and abused the system was. Forensic science, on the other hand, became fascinating for him. He served time as a police officer before he applied to join Luxborn's criminal investigation department. Early on, he was too eager to deal out justice, but his numerous years in service became quite the learning experience for him. Now, as a detective inspector, he's been assigned to his biggest case yet. How is everyone else's? Atheist, Ray's Kirk. Whatever Kirk is. Catholic, agnostic, and Anglican? Catholic. Ah, finally, here we are with Ashton's chapter. We get to see what happened at the party with him, and if he's had any encounters with the spirit. Parties have never really been my thing. They're always such a hassle and takes too much time off my day. Prior plans and commitments cancelled over the sake of playing along with others.
Welcome everyone.
I hated them even as a child. Bravo, I personally don't like parties. Small get-togethers, sure. Parties, no. Clubs, especially horrible.
Please, make yourselves at home.
But Mom often insisted. She'd slick my hair back, put me in one of those stuffy dinner jackets, and if there were any children around, urged me to make friends. They were all children. I had no interest in them. Never mind how utterly loud or tedious it was. It was all for the sake of keeping up appearances. To some extent, lies have already surrounded me, long before I've chosen what I wanted to do with my life. Luckily, there were easy ways to tune everything out, and much to my mom's frustration, I always managed to sneak my CD player along. I kept to myself and to my music, had my own little world, until I learned to observe. It's a simple matter of awareness, really. No, cat. No. Oh, cat. Stop it. You feral creature. Hang on, I gotta move things around. And for someone with keen eyes... You bite me again. That's it. And for someone with keen eyes, a skewed necktie or a simple flick of wrist alone could tell volumes about a person. I still don't like parties. Especially ones as big and fancy as the rites is housewarming. However, when there's actual reason to go to them, I figure they're not too bad.
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
Oh yeah, Shirley's his car, and Ophelia is his gun. Or something. Besides, like it or not, it's all part of the job. I'm here on a mission. One that the name Luke Wright plastered all over it. You'd think the man would want to remain inconspicuous after his name was linked to several high-profile crimes across Luxburn. Granted, most of it have gone cold over the years, having... Nope. Sorry, this feral creature in my lap keeps going after the, earbud wires. That still doesn't make him any less suspect. Yet here he is, throwing a party in his own backyard. Although having observed the man this past year, I'm not even shocked. He craves it. The damn spotlight. Constantly yearns for attention like a neglected puppy. It doesn't take a genius to figure out why he's nowhere to be found in his own party. That's not the problem here. Problem is Rebecca. What pisses me off is how far his reach extends, how close he has creeped into the lives of the people I care about. Again, like a stubborn itch you couldn't be rid of. First, Professor Clark. Oh yeah, what is the story there? Then there's Isabella. I also spotted Z-Man here a while ago, and now there's also Rebecca. Apparently.
Ashton?
Becca, what are you doing here?
I was invited.
Really? I had no idea you were friends with the host.
That explains things, and it makes this difficult all the same, because she's going to pout about me not paying attention to her. As if getting a contact among the staff to sneak a name into the guest list isn't hard enough. The guy almost ditched me last night and might have placed another setback on my investigation if it wasn't for my generous tip. His penis. Then here comes Rebecca, another person to mind.
Well, it's my parents, actually. But that's beside the point.
Okay. Cat, you have had your time in the lap. You have clawed me. You have bitten me. You've played with wires, so enough's enough.
What are you doing here? You hate parties.
I still do. I'm just here on behalf of a friend.
And not you. Unnecessary lie. I can't bring my own friends into this any further than what they found themselves in. Because if Luke Wright so much as harms a hair on either Zach or Rebecca's heads, there will be hell to pay. Hell to pay, you hear me? Worrying about Isabella's brief dealings with him is stressing in itself already. I doubt he'll attempt anything in front of other people, though. It would tarnish his glorious reputation, and he values appearances more than anything. That doesn't necessarily mean he isn't capable of it. More than that, in fact, and on the off chance he does something, I wouldn't be responsible for my actions because that's just how it works.
That's rare. Do you have someone with you then?
Yes, Becca, he has a date.
Nope, just me. I won't be staying long.
Never mind.
Well, if that's the case, maybe you and I can...
For Zach's and Rebecca's sake, however, I really hope this will be another housewarming. Even though something tells me it's anything but. Call it a detective's intuition or whatever. When Luke Wright's involved, nothing good has ever come out of it. I can't let my guard down here. Even more so when a familiar car slows to a stop and out comes...
Chief?
Oh, this guy. My presence here might be odd at best, but I have an excuse. One that this man handed to me himself a year ago, along with a heavy dose of flattery for the newly promoted detective inspector. Can't exactly say the same of my good old boss, can I? Although to see him here, chatting it up with Luxborn's rich and famous, isn't such a big surprise in itself. No disrespect meant, but the guy is obviously a social climber. What is surprising is the fact that he seems all too eager to mingle with a person of interest's wife. Just what the hell is he doing here?
Ashton, what's...
Sorry, Becca. I need to...
I had completely forgotten about that guy.
There's something I need to check for a bit. I'll talk to you later. Do you have a ride home?
No, I had to take a cab here. My car wouldn't start this afternoon. But what about...
What the shit is going on here?
I told you to get that old thing checked before, didn't I? You can head back with me after this. Anyway, I gotta go. See ya. Be careful, okay?
Hey, be careful! About what exact...
I don't want to draw attention to myself either, at least not until he's given me proper reason to spoil his little party.
Thank you for the invite, Anna. Husband still missing, I see?
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee.
Oh, we're gonna see her later.
The doctors again?
For now, the best I can do is wait and remain inconspicuous, especially with Chief here, whose motives are dubious at best. If it means having to pretend I don't know Zach and Rebecca, or forcing myself to rub elbows with people I barely know, let alone like, then so be it. I can't involve anyone. Wandering is out of the question as well, when there are guards and civvies stationed here and there. Sure, getting past them is something I could do with ease, but I'd rather not right now. When I'm one of the few snooping and roaming about, it'd be best to try and do so once there's a crowd of people. And if their interior designers' drunken claims are to be believed...
Yes, well, what about Luke?
Oh geez, Marianne is locked in the sex dungeon.
Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
Do so immediately. Waiting 24 hours, they're probably dead by then.
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing.
You don't have to wait 24 hours. That's absurd. It'll all come down to how well I'll play my cards tonight. With a good hand, this party is going to give me the breakthrough I need to crack Luke right, or something to prove my suspicions wrong, maybe find out what kind of game my boss is also playing. I've had an inkling before, a few hunches tempered down by how much of a bumbling fool the man appears. But one does not simply deal with the rights and get invited to a party they host without wanting anything from either of the two. Or it's the other way around. So, with a last wary glance at the two, I head into the ballroom. I just hope this will not complicate things further. Shit. By the time the party's in full swing, night has fallen, yet there still isn't a Luke Wright in sight. The man could be quite ostentatious, but this, frankly, I'm surprised. I don't even know how many hors d'oeuvre I've already stuffed my face with. Okay, I took like 2 years of French and I still don't really know how to pronounce some words. One too many, probably. The servers are already giving me a stink eye every time I saunter over the buffet table. Screw them. Blame your employer, not me. He's the one who has the guts to show up late. Besides, most of the guests' idle talk is concentrated in this area, despite standing under the same roof with the very people they're whispering about. Some just couldn't resist. I might as well keep an ear out for any useful info.
Is Suarez still fixing that tech problem?
Why does it sound familiar? Suarez.
Tech problem.
With his penis. His or her penis, I don't know.
It's been 3 years. Sooner or later, the blighter will put 2 and 2 together.
Ooh, juicy gossip.
He might have already.
If the red tape I'm being slammed with these past few months suggests anything, that or someone has been pulling the strings. Oh my god, these people are faceless. I wouldn't be shocked. This case would not have gone this long if Scumbag didn't have a mule of some kind in the force.
Shush you, we all know Suarez just wants an out.
I knew he was bad news the day the merger with Evans Incorporated happened.
Fair. Glad I did not have to deal with that. But keep it down, someone might hear. The wife especially.
This kind of negligence has always been an advantage, but sometimes I wish I could be smashed drunk while doing this. Having sharp ears also means you get to hear the most unsavory things. Who cheated on who this week? One person's motive for bashing someone's skull against a wall, or a father's excuse for burning his own daughter alive? That sort of stuff. What? After a few years, it gets tiring. You get desensitized to it, especially fathers burning their daughters alive, or people smashing other people's skulls into the wall. But humans could also be downright awful, because burning one's daughter alive is not... It's not that bad, apparently. Sometimes there simply isn't enough brain bleach in the world. Sadly, the wine is a no-go tonight, mostly for show. I'm up for another drive later for one, and I definitely want to be sober in case anything comes up. And something always comes up in assignments like this. A detective inspector dying of cardiac arrest, for example. What? Because I can feel the moment my heart grinds to a halt the second I shift my eyes to a corner of the ballroom.
Hannah Wright.
Ooh, he's got a bit of a thing for her, huh? And she's talking with Rebecca. Some will say I'm acting a touch bit paranoid. Maybe I am. This is a party and she's the hostess. It goes to say that she'd take time to mingle with her guests. But Hannah Wright, nee Evans, isn't without her fair share of accolades. At least to the public, she doesn't seem like it. Unlike her husband, she's the one with the business sense, not to mention the impressive track record needed to manage a company. Or effectively hide whatever irregularity there might be. She's clean, as far as my agents and I have found, but it doesn't rule out a possible involvement with whatever her husband's up to. Even with Z-Man's personal opinion of the woman, there are certain gut feelings you really couldn't shake off. Hell, Luke Wright came out clean in previous reports until I bothered to take a deeper look into it. What I found may not be sufficient to bring anyone to trial yet, but it's enough to nurture suspicion. This may be a bit of an overreaction, but no one lasts long in my line of work by being careless.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Oh, he caught that, huh?
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Nothing to be worried about then. Hopefully she hooks up with someone, gets laid, and forgets about Ashton in that regard. She's probably even more careful with appearances than her own husband, having grown up with the spotlight focused on her. Yet, even knowing that, the anxiety has been here since the party started. I've brushed it off earlier, who wouldn't feel edgy, right? I've gone undercover in a party hosted by the very person I'm investigating. That in itself is risky and has plenty of rooms for error. Usually, though, the tension passes around the first half hour or so. I've been trained to remain composed in situations like this. However, with each second I spend here, it only grows heavier and seeks to overwhelm. An odd feeling that someone is watching me instead, like the apparition. Yep, there's whispering in the background. It has been like this since last week, but I should already be used to this. People would be looking at me, no matter how small or big of a blip I am on the radar. That's what they do in these things. But when the feeling of eyes burning to my back lingers longer than necessary, I've been looking around every now and then to catch the culprit. No luck. And despite my efforts to push the sensation as far down as I could, tiny pinpricks continue to sting the back of my head, and the ghost of a cold touch creeps up my limbs as the apparition is groping him, until my gaze switches back to Rebecca and Hannah Wright. Uh-oh. Oh. He sees it. Hannah sees it. Oh my god, just the twitching. Look at that twitching. She stands there, dark-haired and dirty, sticking out like a sore thumb. Even so, no one seems to notice. Although she's looking away from me, her mere existence here strikes, disturbs. A sense of tunnel vision binds while I stand stock still and gape at her like my life depends on making sure she stays where she is. I feel trapped in her presence until another guest bumps into me, yanking me out of my stupor. Only then do I realize that I've been holding my breath. Before I could figure out what happened, she's gone. A quick scan of the room yields no sign of her. The party continues as if nothing's amiss. I'm not really one to judge, but I'm sure someone like that would not have been allowed in a fancy thing like this. What has the security been doing? Are they really that incompetent for someone so distinct to easily get in without notice? There should have been an outcry by now, particularly from the host. She's been standing almost an arm's length away from the woman, yet she simply continues her talk with Rebecca.
Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way.
Is there something in the food then? And I'm starting to see things? Couldn't have been the wine, though. I'm every bit as sober as when I first stepped off my car, which was... I wasn't very sober then either. The hors d'oeuvre. But why would anyone want to do that? Why would Luke Wright want to do that? He's fishy, but I couldn't see why he'd ever think it'd be a good idea to lace the food he's served in his party with someone like Chief Lee on his guest list to boot. He has been linked to narcotics trade, yep. However, that kind of tactic is below him. That much I could tell. Unless there's a mass murder waiting to happen here tonight, which I highly doubt. So...
What the fuck was that?
But there's no time to look deeper into this, even if I wanted to. Not when a telling silence comes upon the room and draws everybody's attention to the main doors of the ballroom.
About damn time.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party? I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the right mansion.
I've been tailing this guy for a while now. Before that, I heard stories from previous officers who tackled this case, none of which are pleasant. Mind, I'm not counting the incident with Professor Clark yet. Pleasant is glossing over the gravity of it. While Wright's good at covering whatever shady stuff he's doing, he's shown to be a really rotten guy. At least that's the case when he thinks none of his peers are around to judge him. I've lost track of how many counts of verbal abuse and harassment cases the guy could be pinned with. Standing in the same room as him doesn't make me want to punch him any less. Actually, the urge is stronger, but protocols. My case first and foremost. My own opinion of the man shouldn't get ahead of my purpose here. If I want to put him in his place, it should be in a court, with all proper charges filed against him. And I'll only be able to do that once I gather enough evidence to pin this bastard down.
Welcome, one and all, to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are all ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen, if you would excuse my presumptuousness. So, enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses, as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone!
Suppressing my annoyance, I prepare to step away from the crowd. Amidst the cheers and claps, now as good as time as any to move, to try to find that something the McCulloch woman talked about. In the first place, I have no plans to actually shake hands with the slime ball himself. A fake smile is plastered on my face while I pretend to listen to one of the other guests gossiping about him. All while slowly inching out of the ballroom. Unfortunately, before I could go any further...
Are you feeling ill, Rochelle?
Oh, yes.
Perhaps you need to sit down and...
Rich people only have two ways to resolve their mess. Either they quietly deal with it behind closed doors, or they create an even greater problem out of it and it just blows up in everybody's faces one way or another. Fun.
No! Shut it, you monster! I ain't talking to you! I'm talking to this scumbag over here! You bloody bastard standing there with your smarmy smile!
You know, I want the butler's chapter. The butler doesn't have a chapter, but I'd like to see that. Not even a few seconds in, and this is already proving itself to be a big public spectacle. Why spend money on a television to buy daytime soap operas? You could just go to one of these parties and see the action unfold in real life. You get free food, too. Really, if I were an actual guest, I'd take this as some sordid form of amusement.
Watch your tongue! You're on thin ice, Rochelle. Where's your husband? Who even invited you?
But I'm not a guest who's here for a good time. I need to focus on him even through this whole sorry tale. So I wait, I listen, I observe. Interesting, isn't it, though? That's the chief inspector's wife. ... Oh, October 29th, Saturday. The morning after starts off quiet. We don't get to see the fight with Rebecca. Even the whole of Salemwell residences seems unusually still. The open hallway, when I step out, is devoid of tenants. No sounds coming from the other units either. It's almost as if something's brewing on the horizon. A peaceful night's sleep still does wonders for the mood. Though, I can't even remember the last time I've slept without anything urgent interrupting. It's a nice break from all the bad news lately. If it wasn't for the insistent buzzing in my pocket waking me up, I'd sleep in. The ringing has stopped before I could move somewhere private, but sleep has also been effectively kicked out of my system by then. Pity, I could use a little more rest until I have to face the other storm. Of course, I owe Rebecca an explanation. Doesn't matter if it's the whole truth or another hastily spun tale. Although I haven't really figured out how to go about this yet. Unlike Zach and Isabella, who don't usually ask questions and are content with what little I could share, Rebecca's rather quick on the trigger. Will have to be set aside for later, though.
Sup, I'm Ash from Deluxe City.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Can't beat me. Looking for trouble? Better lie. I'm a cool dude, pretty fly for an Asian guy. Sup, I'm Ash from Deluxe City. Bad guys watch out, can't beat me. Looking for trouble? Better not lie. I'm a cool dude, pretty fly for an Asian guy.
The chief's name stares back at me, almost as if it's mocking me. Sad. It would have been nice to just chill after last night, or maybe half listen to the news. Sure, it's the same thing we've been hearing lately. Still beats standing outside in the chilly Luxborn morning on the phone with my boss. Sigh, and I answer it, if only to get this over with, and end that. Why would he have that?
Pray, where are you right now?
Now, that's a tone I didn't expect from him at this hour, slurring already. Just thinking how this'll go already gives me a headache. Immediately I reach up and pinch the bridge of my nose to stave it off.
This is why I won't ever drink myself senseless.
What was that?
Nothing, Chief. A pleasant morning to you too.
He's probably calling to rag on me or complain about his wife, which is really none of my business unless it affects my case. It seems like the usual rich man cheats on wife deal. Although I would have followed up on it if it were somebody else's wife. But figuring it's the chief's, hey, I trust him to come clean if the missus is related to the right's shady dealings. This is why I left before they even hauled the woman out last night. I'm not going to go around investigating cheating husbands and wives when it's probably just that. Chief appears to have a different idea in mind, though.
There's nothing pleasant in the morning. Anyway, where are you? I told you millions of times before to keep your lines open.
He did, and not only him. Zach, Rebecca, Isabella, all of them have said the same thing numerous times in the past. But I was undercover last night. A phone call is the last thing I want to happen when there are other things I need to focus on at the time. Besides, we have radios and work-issued phones. Why isn't he using those channels if this is urgent?
Just woke up, sir. As awesome as it is to hear your voice this morning, it really is early. If you could give me a few minutes just to wake myself up, that'd be swell.
No need for that. This won't take long.
Is something wrong? Am I needed at the precinct ASAP?
Oh no, everything's good over there. Just...
You're fired.
Look, kid. Pray. Don't take this personally, alright?
You're fired.
You're off the Luxborn firm case. Starting today.
Well, I did not expect to hear that either. This must be some kind of a cosmic joke. I allow some awkward seconds to pass. Chief must be pulling another one of his awful pranks. Out of his bad mood or a severe hangover, maybe. Everyone knows that when given the chance, he exercises no control with his drinking. If it wasn't for his wife causing a stir, he'd probably be trashed an hour in at the party. He likely drank more after they threw her out of the ballroom. Besides, his sense of humor has never been good. It's just infuriating most of the time. But when he doesn't follow it up, if I sound a tiny bit frustrated speaking to my own superior, I'm not the one to blame.
Wait, no. What? Are you kidding, Chief? Is this one of your practical jokes again? The Temps won't say anything about it, but
It's not that. They're orders. From the higher-ups.
Who's higher up? Ah, the higher-ups. Yes, my favorite word. The mystical higher-ups, the shadowy higher-ups, the mysterious higher-ups. Since when did the higher-ups ever care about what the Criminal Investigation Department did? As far as I could tell, they don't give a hoot if Sid is filled with cold cases as long as we keep the spending low. When I need to view those old case files, though, they're locked away in the archives. You're going to have to check with the higher-ups. I need access to these reports, see if the higher-ups would allow it. Every step, every move in this case, there isn't one that hasn't been graded by some authority. If it's not the chief, it's the commissioner, or so they always tell me. It makes me wonder why they even bothered assigning it to anyone. Not a single one of them has done anything to help move the case. And they wonder why it has taken this long for even a hint of progress to show.
you can't just drop this on me. You can't just take me off like that.
Yes, I can. And I'm sorry, Ashton. You're a good detective. One of the best I've seen in years, but...
3 years, Chief. 3 years!
3 years since that anonymous tech leak blew up. Since Luke Wright's name was openly linked to several nasty dealings within Luxborn's corporate world, some of them involving deaths. 3 years, and I was the only one who made it this far, made much progress that officers with more experience weren't able to do when they handled this case. Just within a year, and with barely any help from the damn brass at that. Of course, I'll be pissed.
Do you know what would have happened if I didn't work my ass off on this thing? If I didn't dedicate a whole year of my time on it, it would have gone cold, like every fucking case Luke Wright has been linked to. I saved this from getting thrown into the archives, sir. I'm getting close. If you could just...
I'm fully aware of what you've done, Frey, but the Commissioner hasn't been happy with your progress. Still too slow by their standards.
Too slow? Well, what about those reports I filed? I've documented every freaking thing for them. I've given you every important lead I can gather. Isn't that enough?
They need results, not a bunch of research papers. Not one baseless assumption after another. Concrete proof, Frey. I'm really sorry. They've already made a decision. They're going to pass this on to someone who's been in the Force longer. Someone who has more experience.
Someone who has more experience?
They meant nothing by it, but you're still too young to work on a case this big.
Chief, I've already done more than what those old farts ever did behind their desks. All of it, within just a year of being assigned to this.
Watch your language, Frey. Those are your superiors,
I'm not some damn rookie fresh out of training. I'm as qualified as they are.
Futile, I know it is. They never say it within my earshot, but from the very minute I stepped into their precinct, a lot of them have underestimated me, from their stares alone to the assignments I get. To them, I'm just a kid, too young, too green, too inexperienced. And once they pull that card on me, every argument I have gets thrown out the window. No matter how logical it is, how much I've accomplished, what the records says, or what the amount of work I've put in, every investigation they've thrown my way.
We're all aware of your skills, kid. You wouldn't have that badge and rank if you weren't good enough. However, this case is just not for you. Too high profile, too risky to put a good officer like you in harm's way.
Can he even hear himself? That reasoning is odd in itself. No one joins this line of work without knowing the dangers of it.
Don't I get a second chance? You said it yourself. I'm a good detective. It'll just be a matter of time before we can close this.
It doesn't matter what I think, Frey. You're off the case, and that's final. I expect all related files and documents on my desk by Monday morning. And don't even try to go touch anything. I know how hard-headed and determined you are.
Chief, please. A few more weeks. I'll have the proper evidence left on your desk by then. I swear it won't take longer than that.
Fred, it's too late, boy. I've already informed the other officers. You aren't to be allowed access until you've been given a new assignment. Hell, just keep out of the precinct, Frey. Take the weekend off.
Seriously, Chief, is this about last night? If this is about me being at that party, I have a good reason for...
You were at the party.
Makes me pause. His wary tone, the sudden careful note in his voice. Slowly a frown forms in my face, my eyebrows knitting together in confusion. Much as I hate to say this about my own boss, there's also suspicion in it. Hard not to think of it that way, seeing how he acted around Hannah Wright last night. Is he worried? Should he be? Anyone was invited. I didn't doubt for a second why he received an invite, even if his presence was questionable. There's something wrong, and I've unintentionally walked into it. All I have is this sneaking suspicion, but when one looks at this from a different angle, put everything together, why the hell I've been taken off the case might be for the same reason he was there in the first place.
Yes, Chief, I was. For a good reason. What were you doing there? I know we don't have a strict rule against attending functions, but that was...
He coughs, and it almost sounds like he's choking on his own excuses? Lies? Saliva? I don't want to accuse him of anything yet. He's someone I've respected since I joined LPD, even with his bizarre sense of humor and tendency to procrastinate. He's obviously competent enough to get the job done, or he just rose to his level of incompetence. He wouldn't be Chief Inspector of Luxmore Police if he wasn't. He wouldn't last years in service without some track record backing him. Unless that too is a fluke, and what's backing him is not something, but someone. Oh shit. Hell. Shit.
Chief Harvey, about last night with the...
Why does it matter, Frey? This isn't about that.
Why does it matter? Why does it matter? I'll recite the whole damn oath that we've taken upon being sworn into service if I can, but at this point it seems too late to remind him of that. He has probably already moved from serving and protecting people to serving and protecting his own interests. Damn it. I've suspected the upper brass of this, even the lower rank subordinates in the force, but from my own boss? Shit, no wonder the leak didn't lead anywhere. Someone closer might have been pulling the strings. I might have been set up to fail long before the case had been assigned to me. But I don't want to just give this up. I don't want to believe I've wasted an entire year for this. I don't want this to be the kind of news to tell Professor Clark after all those promises I've given the man.
I just want to know, sir, at the party, with Luke and Hannah Wright, you were...
Monday, Detective Inspector. First thing in the morning. Every copy of the files you have, I want to see all on my table, understood?
This isn't...
Frey, am I understood?
What else can I do other than smile and nod? My own superior expecting an answer using that tone, brushing my questions off as easy as discarding a dead body.
Yes. Yes, sir.
He cuts the line as soon as the words are out. You're off the case, Frey. Just like that. Funny why this still caught me off guard. I've discovered years ago how different the actual thing is, how far from reality everything I've believed in a dreamy-eyed kid, or as a dreamy-eyed kid. I believed in a dreamy-eyed kid once. There are no high-speed pursuits every day, no thrilling gunfights or exciting cases every step of the way. Only paperwork, lots of red tape, and dealing with politics and bureaucracy. I've set out to change things, hoping it'll make things better for the people I care about. It ended up changing me instead. Serves me right for being too idealistic, I guess. This is probably the universe telling me that it's better to remain the skeptic I really am. Because the universe does that. Now, here I am, standing useless, can't even do anything but grit my teeth and kick the wall. The bastard didn't even acknowledge my response.
What did the poor wall ever do to you?
It figures Rebecca would be the one to find me in this embarrassing state. Honestly, I don't like it when she sees me like this, which seems to happen a lot, regardless of what I want.
Rebecca, now's not a good time.
The concern I expect from her when I turn isn't there, however. Instead, she just looks well. The storm I left brewing last night, it's right there on her face, ready to be unleashed.
When is it ever a good time for you? You're always so busy with everything now. Now I find you here, sneaking out without even bothering with a proper goodbye. Not even a word. Really, I'm starting to think you're just keeping me around for my couch and my cooking.
Becca, it's not what you're thinking. I wasn't planning on sneaking out. I was going to say goodbye. I just had to take this call. Although I'm not gonna lie, couch is great. 10 out of 10, would sleep again.
Stop it with the jokes, Ashton. I'm not in the mood.
Her bitterness is not lost on me, but at this point, our friendship in our lives, how does she expect me to answer that? What am I supposed to tell her now?
Are you still mad about last night?
She merely raises an eyebrow at me, which, to be honest, is all the response I need. Seeing her like this makes me believe those things the man says, the part where Rebecca scares him, sometimes. I've certainly seen this more than once already. But the familiarity of it doesn't really take away from the downhill turn this conversation's starting to take. Only an awkward cough serves as a way to stall.
Okay, of course you're still mad. But whatever happened last night, I really am sorry. I'll apologize as many times as you want. If you want, I'd even kneel or something.
Ashton, an apology is nice and all, but that's not what I wanted to hear from you today.
Then what the hell do you want to hear, Becca? Just come out and tell the guy instead of trying to beat around the bush with it. Come on.
All right, fine, okay. Where do you want to start?
Oh, I don't know. I've honestly lost track of it by your third trip to the buffet table.
Holy shit, is that what this is about? About his third trip to the buffet table? Like, come on.
I wasn't... The drive up there took a bit. Can you blame me if I wanted to grab some appetizers?
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, come on, Ash. For the whole evening? For the whole party?
It's free food. Come on, he needs to pack on the pounds.
Please don't tell me that's all you did, because I've never known you as someone who pigs out.
Oh, what else was he supposed to do? Hold your hand? Dance? Come on.
You even took great lengths to avoid me. Should I also mention how you ignored Zach?
Good reason, and he should tell you.
Sometimes I get the feeling you don't want to be seen with us in public. Some friendship, huh?
You know it's not like that. It's never going to be like that, Becca.
Tell her you were working.
I'll ask this again. Just what were you up to during the party? What were you doing that you couldn't even take 2 seconds to make time for your friends?
I couldn't even look her in the eye. It wasn't that I wanted to avoid them. I did it to keep Zach safe, to keep Rebecca safe. Just in case. Client or family friend, it was still a party hosted by a person of interest by a man accused years ago of murdering a person's wife to get what he wanted. But then Chief showed up, Hannah Wright happened, and Luke Wright just can't be bothered to die peacefully somewhere. All of a sudden, none of my original reasons mattered. If I was found out right then and there, hell, if Zach and Rebecca's connection with me was found out, who knows what might have happened. But Rebecca doesn't understand that, doesn't understand what I can and can't say to keep them from harm. It's all in her eyes, in the tight line of her lips, and in her furrowed brows, and in the quivering of her breasts. The hurt. This day is just off to a wonderful start. First my case, now Becca. How do I even go about this? You just can't, tell her something? Stretch the truth, insist it's confidential? I mean, come on. I don't know, maybe she doesn't want to hear a lie, but she doesn't want to be stonewalled, but if you insist it's confidential, she might get that it's work-related, so she might handle it better. Okay, let's do it. Insist it's confidential.
It's confidential, Rebecca.
Let's see how that went. Oh, well, she liked that, I guess. I wonder how many times I've told her that. And not just her. My dad, my mom, Zach, and even Isabella. How many times have I told them what essentially boiled down to mind your own business, to make sure they're all safe, to keep them out of danger? My job isn't a game, it isn't as glamorous as the television portrays it to be. I had thought so, too, as a child. I was so clueless back then, wasn't I? But boy, did I learn. That the good guys don't always win. Justice isn't always served. Investigation is not looking at a crime scene once to get a eureka moment. It's sleepless nights at the crime lab with the tech guys. It's several days wearing the same clothes with Chinese takeout stains because I'm staking out a place. It's frustration when bureaucracy hinders you from looking into a case any further, or when you know the suspect is guilty but they get away scot-free on a technicality. It's seen anger and pain and despair with every case.
I know you have a mountain of questions, but I've told you this so many times before. I can't say much more than that.
Still, the look on Rebecca's face, the resentment and the pain. It hurts me as well to think that I'm the cause of that. It's a familiar one, too, something I've seen a lot over the years. You know, he could have just said, hey, it was work-related. I couldn't socialize. I had to do a thing. I was undercover. You just happened to be there. I wonder how long it'll take before Zach starts giving me the same one. Or until I've hurt Isabel in a way that any sincere apology won't ever be enough. Or what a mess. I'm a mess, and it's the people close to me who have to suffer for it.
I guess, if that's the case, there's nothing much I can do about it. You're off being what? A hero, I guess? And I shouldn't rag on you for that.
I could never get used to how quick she just forgives me for whatever shitty thing I do. Zach and Isabella, too. They've all been patient with me, unlike I with them. I don't deserve any of them for the kind person I've turned out to be. For the kind of person I've turned out to be.
I'm hardly a hero, Becca. I'm just Ash.
I expect a retort, another one laced with bitterness. Instead, she laughs. Half-hearted, with barely a hint of cheer in it, but it's a laugh nevertheless. I honestly don't know what to make of that, what to do with myself upon hearing it. It's almost like the mere sound of it is meant to pierce.
The least you could have done is tell me. Maybe I could have helped. Kept an ear and an eye out for you. I don't know. I could have been Irene Adler, maybe?
Her smile doesn't quite reach her eyes, but the mask, she tries so hard for me. I give her a smile of my own, though I imagine it comes off as unenthusiastic as hers. It's far easier to slip back to banter when it's like this, to just brush off everything, At least this way, we wouldn't have to deal with awful things.
The woman? Don't flatter yourself. Nancy Blue, more like.
Her sidekick would beg to differ, Ashton.
I couldn't stop a wry grin from forming in my lips. She probably still has the photo from that contest, keeps it in her old diary. I never did find either of the two after I threatened to burn them. In the end, I just never brought it up again, hoping she'd just forget about the whole thing. But the small smile on her face says a lot. Those were good times. Simpler, a lot more peaceful. Now things have changed. We're no longer the same people as we were as kids, thank gods. Growing up together doesn't mean it always has to be just the two of us in the first place. It's a dumb notion to believe in when nothing ever remains constant. Things will inevitably change through the years. In fact, it already has long ago, not just with the people we allowed into our respective lives, but also with us as people, as friends. It really does get complicated as we get older, doesn't it? Not everything has to be, though. Even if it's in the form of a promise, I have no idea when I'll be able to fulfill.
I swear, I'll explain when it's all over. ...
The silence afterwards brings an even heavier air between us. Something that Rebecca thankfully doesn't allow to linger more than necessary.
I suppose you have to go now, huh?
The situation's already awkward as it is. Dragging this out will only make it more, what? Difficult? Messed up? As if it isn't already?
Back to your case again?
I don't really have to. I have no case as far as the job is concerned. I have the weekend off until I have to report to Chief on Monday. Although I don't want to just throw in the towel on this. Orders are orders. This isn't like the movies. I don't get to say F off, throw my gun and badge at him, become more some vigilante, save the day, and get my job back. I'd rather get my ass thrown in jail than do any of that. But it's also not in my nature to just sit still and do nothing. It'll drive me crazy if I just idle about. Besides, there's someone who has to know about this whole Luke Wright thing.
Yeah, I need to go talk to Professor Clark. And there's something else I need to look into.
That other matter she mentioned last night specifically? The same stuff Zachary has also been trying to tell me. Things even the news has been blasting out to the general populace lately. Evening, afternoon, morning, all deaths with the same modus, blamed on a single serial killer. Or is it still the case?
Found dead in the early hours of the morning today. The fire was contained within the room and no other tenants were harmed, according to Luxborn police.
Uh-oh. Grasping at straws as far as these murders are concerned. In the first place, I'm not even the one heading this investigation, yet look at me treating it as if it's another high-profile case on my shoulder. How sad is that? Although all three of my friends have mentioned seeing something strange, I don't want to go into that line of thinking for now. Not yet, not until I've exhausted every logical argument I could throw at it. To be honest, though, I don't know how to take all of this anymore. But I've already given Isabella my word. It'd bother me more if I didn't follow up on a promise I made to her. And after Rebecca's claims last night, there won't be enough sarcasm in the world if what my friends have been telling me is true. I can already hear Isabella's laughter, in fact.
Figures. What else can it be?
It's not another case. It's something else. That issue Isabella mentioned yesterday morning. I'm sure you remember. You were there.
Well, at least you're not neglecting all your friends.
Becca, I promised her I'll...
She doesn't wait for me to finish. With a roll of her eyes, she turns around and shuts the door in my face. All she wants, Ash, is a nice little tumble. I have no idea what I've said this time, but...
I probably deserve that.
She could communicate better. Or you could realize that she just wants some alone time with you. She could also say she has feelings for you, but no. We'll just have to fix this some other time. By then, her temper is sure to have cooled off significantly. Hopefully. ... For now, I can't laze around. Gotta attend to things that matter more. Professor Clark first delivered the bad news, then that issue with BRC and Isabella. Maybe I'll also drop by Zach's, check on him, hear what he has to say. He also has read that damn letter. Also has also been saying odd things about a bunch of photographs. Might as well, while I'm here, playing a paranormal detective? Or was it supernatural? I can't remember. Whatever, it wouldn't hurt anyone if I tried to get to the bottom of this. If nothing comes out of this, good. Everyone can shut up about stupid curses and we can finally get back on track with our lives, onto more important stuff. if there is something.
Are you two done?
There's a moment of confusion when I see her familiar ponytail about, only to find her standing behind the door to her apartment seconds later. Isabella holds it open, though only slightly, as if to hide from anyone who might happen to pass by. This early and on a lazy weekend, I doubt anyone would. But from the gap, and what little light there is behind her, I can make out the appearance of someone who has just clearly gotten off from bed. Hair is complete disarray, eyes still heavy with sleep, and a small pout on her lips. She hasn't even gotten out of her pajamas. Oh gods. Oh no. I look away long before my sense of decorum kicks in. We might be friends. I'll even dare say we've grown closer over the years, but that doesn't extend beyond the bounds of propriety. Christ, even Rebecca never greets early visitors in her sleep clothes. Maybe she should. Though maybe it's our fault why she's up this early. Still, heat makes us... What kind of pajamas is Isabella wearing? I'm really curious how it would cause a reaction from him like that. I know the pajamas I wear certainly don't. Still, heat makes a slow crawl up my neck, one that I quickly downplay with a solid cough.
Isabella, you're up early.
And you're scantily clad in your sleep clothes. Oh my gosh, she's naked. Lame.
No, I'm not. I'm usually up at this hour. You're the one that usually sucks at getting up early.
Says the person who looks like she's just fallen out of bed.
Instead of the usual quip, she simply averts her gaze to some point beside her, and, although it only flashes briefly across her face, an expression of hurt flickers in her eyes. It disappears the second she turns her attention back to me, but that moment has sent a worried twinge in my stomach. Ashton, you're just pissing off everyone. I've seen it on her plenty of times before, just never in a manner that unsettles. It feels, I don't know, off this time? I didn't say anything wrong, did I?
Hey, are you...
Anyway, was that Becca with you? You both sound like Mama and Papa when they fight. You're awfully loud. If we get another memo from the landlady, I'm asking the guard to ban you from ever entering this place.
Me? Becca's the one almost shouting.
Yeah, well, she lives here. You don't. You have no excuse. You're the suspicious-looking person.
With that weird-ass jacket of yours, Ashton.
Thanks. Glad at least one person appreciates how I pretty up this place.
Don't flatter yourself. This place would be so much better without having to see your face every few days.
Oh. She follows it up with another pout and snaps her fingers. But her ruffled appearance, particularly how puffy her eyes are, I noticed just now, takes away from the intimidating effect she's trying to show. Really, right now she just looks more like an angry puppy. I might have laughed had it not given me another nagging sense that something is definitely wrong with her. What? She been crying earlier? That is worrying. She rarely does that. The only time it happened, the one time I've ever seen her generally tear up over something, I think it was after Devlin Court, the night of the bridge. Want to ask? She seems determined to keep it to herself, though.
Belle, did something...
About yesterday, Ash. The things we talked about. Do you think we can take a look at it today?
We? I never said you're coming with me. Don't worry, I didn't forget about it. You'll be the first to know if I find anything.
No, I want to go with you. I'll be ready in a few. This won't take long.
Isabella, you really don't have to. I can handle it on my own. You'll just...
Get in the way.
I won't get in the way, I promise. Besides, maybe I can help. You know, if there are files you want to check.
I don't like what she's implying. It's true, LAPD is having a hard time with this, but taking Isabella with me, it's out of the question. Under normal circumstances.
You're the one who's going to get in trouble if you do that.
You said it yourself. You need information, and I can help you get that. And it's not like it matters anymore.
She got fired.
I just don't want to stand around doing nothing today.
There it is again. The slight shift in her eyes, the mild crease forming between her eyebrows, and the mild slump in her shoulders while she crosses her arms tightly around herself. Like she's shielding herself from whatever painful thing there is out here. I have plenty of reasons why I shouldn't let her tag along. First and foremost, she's a civilian. Second, I have no concrete plan of action yet. I'm going into this blind. No matter how I look at it, it's simply better for her to just wait so she won't get dragged into what might be another one of my failures. Her assumptions might be a dead end for all we know. But seeing that expression on her, hearing her speak those words out loud in a desperate, almost pleading tone, I can't bring myself to say no. So I give in, because right there I see myself in her. The person who doesn't want to stay idle, doesn't want to think of the problems haunting him.
All right, 5 minutes.
Wow, why is that, like, different, recorded differently? Why?
What? You're timing me?
Well, I can't wait forever. I'm a very busy guy. 4 minutes and 45 seconds, Isabella.
I hate you so much.
4 minutes and 30 seconds, 29, 28. I'd hurry if I were you.
Ugh, you're awful! I hope you never get a girlfriend.
She slams the door right after, although my knuckles, chuckles, the mirth and the lightness in it linger. With her, those have always come easy somehow, even as its echoes fade, and only the ghost of a smile remains.
It's not like I'm looking for anyone else.
Oh? I want to tell her. Oh, geez, love triangle. Now we just need Isabella to be into Rebecca. It's not because I don't. Or can't. I won't. I'm the one who has chosen not to until I fixed myself, until I found myself underneath all the guilt and those lies I've been telling all these years. What? Because no matter how heavy the weight of these feelings are, I am not yet worthy of them. Of her. Until then, little words and gestures are the only things I can offer. Minor stuff such as digging deeper into this thing with BRC in order to ease her worries. I'm not even sure if this will give us anything. Unlike with the firm case, which I already have proper leads on, I'm just going by her word on this. Speaking of the Luxborn firm case, still have to inform the professor. The apprehension's there for sure. I've made a lot of promises to the man, and I would have preferred to tell him in person, not over the phone. But it's better for him to hear it from me rather than from a stranger. Alright, well, we'll leave it there. It's been long enough, probably. And next time we'll, I don't know, do stuff. Continue on with Ashton's chapter.